Hello, Magic Muse, witches, heathens. Welcome back to As Above, So Below. My name is Tiffany. Today we're going to be chatting about coming out of the broom closet. Whoo, this is a really big one, but I'm going to take you back on my journey and let you know how that was for me. So I started my journey back in 2016, and it really all started when I read How to Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Raven Wolf. And for the longest time, I grew up Mormon. So I never thought that witchcraft was an actual lifestyle. I grew up watching Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all of the magical fantasy stuff, but I never thought that it was an actual spiritual walk. And when I read that and it was in a tangible, real life form, things just started clicking. Things were just like, holy shit, this is me. This is me to a T. And it's so interesting when you read something and it feels like it's remembering. That's exactly what it felt like. It was remembering. And I remember telling myself, because I was on the way to work, and I said, Spirit, if I'm actually a witch, go ahead and turn all of these lights green. And I was going down a busy highway in on Rivers Avenue in North Charleston, in South Carolina, if you know where that is. But it's a busy street, and all of the lights turn green. I'm like, oh my God. You know how things happen, like when you will it to happen, it happens, and it gives you all of the tingles, it gives you all of the goosebumps. And I also remember manifesting parking spaces and, just all of these things. And I I was giddy. But that was in my early years of development. And as I was walking my path, the people closest to me started to see a shift, and they didn't understand. But then I had to come out with it. I was like, you know what, I am a practicing witch. And I got a lot of kickback from mostly my family and my old close friends. I had to release a lot of people that I used to hang out with. Um, and that was when I started to really prioritize my intuition and my knowing over everything else, because things were starting to happen behind my back, that my intuition was like, this isn't right, this isn't right. And I didn't have tangible proof, but I listened to that over anything else. And these were people that I was hanging out with for years. I have tattoos with these people. But that was when I knew that the goddess had me. I knew that trusting her, trusting source, spirit, was going to lead me in the direction of my highest purpose. But it was hard. But it is the most freeing and the most powerful thing that I ever did for myself. When I stopped hiding who I really was, stopped fearing of judgment, and just owned what I was outright, it actually challenged other people to look at themselves and say, why, it caused like a barrier and a rift. And the more vocal I was about being who I am, I think it also had other people looking at how they're living their lives, and whether they wanted to take, accountability for that, that's totally their choice. But for me, it was a sacred empowerment for me to do this, because I have this understanding and knowing, and I've seen multiple past lives from years ago of being hung and being burned, and just not being able to live in my full power. And in this life, I came back to reclaim that. And I'm reclaiming the word witch, because a lot of the times it gets a negative connotation, but witch means wise. And to own that completely and to walk in your magic, that causes a ripple effect. And, you know, a big thing of people are going to judge you no matter what. So you might as well live your life the way you want to. And I will say that this path it comes with a lot of misconceptions. It comes with a lot of judgment. But when your faith and your confidence is stronger than anything that anyone else says, if you have the truth and the love within you, that is going to trump anything and everything that is thrown at you. It is a more adverse path, but for me, that brings it more empowerment. I have I have so much Aquarius in my chart. I have a stellium in Aquarius, and I am very much like, you know what? We're gonna go against the grain because it's not what everybody else is doing. Autonomy and authenticity is a very strong core value for me. And when you claim that you're a witch, people either look at you with fear, with judgment, or they look at you with power and inspiration. And those are the people that you want by your side. Those are the people that will support you, will believe in you. And now I am completely living in my truth. My business is all about magic. It's about healing. It's about manifesting. It's about, you know, doing the work and trusting in a source that is higher than you, or trusting in yourself. That's why my thing is you are the magic, because a lot of the times when you look outside of yourself for the magic, you lose the power. You know, like tarot, Ouija boards, pendulums, dowsing rods, those are all tools, but they mean nothing if you don't have the faith or have the belief that you are the one bringing power and life to these things. And growing up Mormon, it was all about, you know, almost like putting the belief in something outside of you. It felt very much like, if you don't do this, you are sinning and you are bad. You know, it felt like being a human and experiencing life was a bad thing. And to me, it didn't feel right. I want to experience life in all of its richness, all of its fullness. And I think because I've lived as a witch in multiple different lives, I see the light, I see the shadow, I see everything that makes up people. There's beauty in the darkness. And I grew up loving Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride and, you know, all of the dark, twisty things I liked. And my mom didn't understand. She you know, got me the movies. She let me read Harry Potter. She let me go see these movies and everything. But she didn't understand why. And I didn't either until I got older. But coming out and reclaiming who you are, coming out of the broom closet, it helps you connect with like-minded people. And if it also sheds other people from your life, then those people weren't meant to be with you on your path anyways. It's painful. It is hard to accept that people aren't going to be with you for the long haul, but claiming your inner knowing and claiming your power is always going to be more fulfilling than living a life that isn't yours, or living a life where you have to conform and contort yourself to be somebody that these people expect you to be. And I wasn't down for that. And now, you know, now I live this most magical life where I don't have to hide. I don't have to be in fear of my gifts. I can lean into my psychic abilities. I can lean into mediumship. I can lean into magic. And it's helped me get to where I am now. my manifestation rituals, my healing rituals, my moon magic, like all of it is because I trusted in that. This house, we manifested. We drew out a house that we wanted, me and my husband. And the house that we saw, actually, it was interesting because it was in the price range. It had the all of the rooms that we wanted, bathrooms, it had the backyard, all of it. And we looked at it, and the house itself was great, but it was right by like a busy road. And I didn't put that in my drawing. I didn't put that in my manifestation. And we almost got it. But I was like, you know what, Spirit, I think we can do better. So I went back, and it took a little while, but we eventually landed on this one, which is a better value. It is in a quiet neighborhood. It has a bigger backyard, you know, like, but because I trusted all of those things, now I'm able to live a life that is completely mine. And last year I left being an employee to work for myself. And now I can tailor, you know, my services to tarot, to hypnotherapy, past life regression, to magic. And that's what people come to see me for. And they accept me for that. And they come to see me because of the magic. So don't be afraid to claim your magic, to own who you are, and walk your talk, because that is infectious and people can feel that. So thank you for joining me. I will see you on the next one. Blessed be. Bye.